you need to be true with yourself. In some point, this is gonna end, and I have other things to do. That's the best thing, right? I have other things to do, and but I'm gonna enjoy the last 2 3 years, four. I'm being here in boxing, and then we'll see.
Of Canelo, but they do make weight classes for a reason. Canelo is still very strong. He's a good body puncher, and he's a bigger guy naturally. So that does bring a bit of a risk to the table.
Y'all act like, oh, he ain't got no power. If he don't knock out Bud, he's gonna lose. What makes you say that? Well, he's been winning by decision without knocking out people. He's had the higher fight IQ than everybody he's fought.
Canelo Alvarez has stunned the boxing world with a candid admission. If he loses to Terence Crawford, he may walk away from the sport. Acknowledging that everything must end at some point, Canelo said he is already preparing himself for that reality. The Mexican superstar explained that while he still intends to savor his remaining years inside the ring, he is also looking ahead to life beyond boxing. Family and personal goals, he revealed, will take priority once his legendary career finally comes to a close.
Retirement on anyone or speak about retirement when they're not ready. But has retirement ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about that?
I always say like 37 is good time to go. It's not because I can't be in the boxing anymore, but sometimes you need to do something else. So I'm being in October I turned 20 years as a professional fighter. So it's meant a lot of years. So, but we'll see.
You're the face of boxing, and you've been professional for 20 years. Does the fear of kind of walking away ever weigh on you, because boxing is so your identity? Does the thought of walking away and losing that part of yourself make you want to stay in the game for longer?
No, I think boxing give me so much, and you need to be true with yourself. In some point, this is gonna end, and I have other things to do. That's the best thing, right? I have other things to do, but I'm gonna enjoy the last 2 3 years, four, being here in boxing, and then we'll see.
When asked whether the thought of walking away from boxing weighs on him after 2 decades as the face of the sport, Canelo Alvarez gave a surprisingly honest answer. No, he said. Boxing has given me so much, but you have to be true with yourself. At some point, this is going to end. I have other things to do, and that's the best part. I'll enjoy the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years in the ring, and then we'll see. Canelo's words have fueled speculation that his upcoming fight with Terence Crawford could mark the beginning of the end, or even the final chapter of his legendary career. In recent interviews, he has dropped subtle hints that his time in boxing is nearing its close. This perspective isn't entirely surprising. After years of competing at the highest level, unifying titles across divisions, and defeating some of the toughest names of his generation, Canelo has little left to prove. But the possibility of retirement adds even greater weight to the showdown with Crawford, as fans now view it not just as another super fight, but potentially as Canelo's last stand inside the ring.
Hold on to your gloves. Fight fans. Canelo Alvarez is gearing up for a blockbuster bout against Terence Crawford this September. The undisputed super middleweight champ is making history as the first ever 2-time undisputed king at 168. But here's the real knockout. Canelo's hinting at hanging up his gloves soon. He's giving himself just 3 more years in the ring, aiming to retire at 37. Why? Because he wants to leave on his own terms, not when boxing tells him to. And get this, he's not doing it for money or legacy. It's all about the love of the sport. But before he calls it quits, we might see him face off against David Benavidez or even Jake Paul. Who do you think Canelo should fight next? Drop your predictions in the comments.
Canelo Alvarez has revealed that he is seriously considering stepping away from boxing by the end of the year. The Mexican superstar explained that he has already accomplished everything he set out to do, becoming a multi-division world champion and cementing his place as one of the greatest fighters of his generation. With his legacy secure, Canelo admitted his focus is shifting toward family life and personal happiness. His comments have only fueled speculation that, win or lose against Terence Crawford, his days as an active fighter may already be numbered.
Well, it looks like it's the end of an era. Canelo Alvarez spoke about his retirement plans and has confirmed that the end is near and that his time inside the ring is coming to an end relatively soon. Canelo Alvarez said that he is now in the stage wherein he's also thinking a lot about how he wants to focus, as well as enjoy the fruits of his labor, not just for himself, but for his family as well. The Mexican fighter who made his professional boxing debut at the age of 15 years old and has been professionally fighting for almost 20 years now said the following, and I quote, "From the age of 28 to 29, this is the age where I have felt best. I've always said that 37 years old is a good age to enjoy what I have done with my family, other things in my career, and that's what I say. But I said I would debut at 18 and I did it at 15. End of quote.
In a spirited debate, Simon Jordan, Paulie Malignaggi, and Roy Jones Jr. lauded Canelo Alvarez as a dominant force in his natural weight class. They highlighted his power, experience, and physicality, crediting him as a true legend at super middleweight, where he has long reigned supreme. The panel agreed that the difference in natural weight could play a decisive role in his clash with Terence Crawford, who is moving up to take on the challenge. While they acknowledged Crawford's remarkable skill set and adaptability, the consensus was clear. Canelo's strength, durability, and proven dominance at 168 pounds make him one of the most difficult opponents any fighter could face stepping into his division.
Because I think the only dynamic that makes this fight competitive, in my opinion, is the difference in weight class. I think Canelo has been for a while a diminishing fighter. Call it age, call it whatever other things you want to call it, but I just think that, the only reason he's even still around at this level is because he's avoided his top contenders in his weight class, so he's been able to still remain champion at that weight class. And now, being champion at that weight class, it has sort of brought up this big opportunity to fight a smaller, excellent world champion in Terence Crawford. So I think when it comes to the levels of boxing, just straight from boxing perspective, I think Crawford is head and shoulders above Canelo. But, they do make weight classes for a reason. Canelo is still very strong. He's a good body puncher, and he's a bigger guy naturally. So that does bring a bit of a risk to the table. I think Crawford can win the fight. I just wonder whether he can get a decision. That's always the question with Canelo, right? Can Canelo get a decision? I mean, can Crawford get a decision over Canelo? Can anybody get a decision over Canelo? We know Bebo did, but Bebo essentially won a 10-2, 11-1 fight, and they barely gave it to him.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Here, Spencer.
So that's.
Paulie, there's a lot made of, jumping up 2 weight divisions. We saw Sugar Ray Leonard do it against Marvin Hagler, and the greats can actually do that, can't they? And when you see them head to head, actually, Terence Crawford, he's filled out very, very well. And you're right, it comes down to just weight divisions, because I think that Terence Crawford is head and shoulders above, as does Simon as well, when it comes to boxing IQ and ring craft. But I go, when you look at it, and we're all talking about the weight division, that could be the factor. I don't see it being a factor.
Boxing analysts have pushed back against the narrative that Terence Crawford can defeat Canelo Alvarez simply because of Canelo's past loss to Floyd Mayweather. They argue that this reasoning is flawed, as the fight took place when Canelo was still young and far from his prime. Experts point out that losing to Mayweather should never be seen as a blemish on a career. After all, Mayweather retired undefeated at 50-0 and is widely regarded as the greatest defensive boxer in history. Many who shared the ring with him walked away with the same result. For Canelo, the experience was less a defeat and more a masterclass, one that provided invaluable lessons. Since that night, Canelo has grown exponentially as a fighter. He has refined his defense, sharpened his counterpunching, and developed into a more versatile and dangerous competitor. Analysts conclude that using the Mayweather loss to discredit Canelo is misguided. Instead, that fight stands as a pivotal moment in his evolution, underscoring the growth, resilience, and skill that have made him one of the most complete champions in modern boxing.
All of this blood hype come from? Where this video I'm watching on the internet, everybody is saying that Bud is going to smoke Canelo. Well, I get it. When he said, I'm going to stomp a mud hole, he's like, told Canelo, I'm going to stomp a mud hole in your ass. Bud ain't stomping shit. He ain't stomping a mud hole in shit. He ain't think he's going to do it. It's okay to think that. It's okay that is his intentions. But anybody online is believing this shit. Like you forgot, like Canelo's a fucking punk. And let me tell you something. Can we be honest here? Canelo was one of the most gangster motherfuckers in boxing, bro. Bro, this is the same Canelo who had a fight and was negotiation with some other gangsters that kidnapped his brothers at the time. And we went in there and beat the guy. And this negotiation ran to release your brother from some motherfucking monsters. Y'all ain't learning. Like when Caleb Plant, he keeps smacking people, getting away with it and punching people. And you see what happened when you try to do this shit with Canelo, right? I bet you Bud won't do that to Canelo. See when you try to poke Canelo, you saw Canelo did, right? He trying to step Canelo, trying to walk Canelo backwards. See who put hands on him. So he get the fuck out of here. Y'all act like Canelo's some kind of person. Before he gets stopped on him. And y'all think that a guy, I mean, y'all forget. Let's play Roy Jones, you must have forgotten someone. Like, y'all forgetting all the titles that Canelo has won, getting all the divisions he has moved up on, and those niggas not being dropped, not down by none of these way bigger guys.
Timothy Bradley Jr. has come under fire from fellow analysts after confidently predicting that Terence Crawford will not only beat but also dominate Canelo Alvarez. Critics argue that Bradley's outlook ignores the stark physical differences between the two fighters. They point out that Canelo has already proven his strength and durability by going toe-to-toe with Gennady Golovkin across 3 brutal fights, standing firm against one of the sport's most feared punchers. Crawford, by contrast, has never competed at this weight, and the jump in size and power raises serious questions about how he will cope under Canelo's pressure. Those challenging Bradley's view stress that these realities cannot be overlooked. In their eyes, size and experience at the higher weight classes play too significant a role to simply dismiss, making Canelo a far more formidable challenge than Bradley suggests.
Had to move out, and that's why it's so hollow. My voice is so hollow. But here's the reality. Terence Crawford is first of all, you're comparing Terence Crawford, dog in the fight, as big as a dog, whatever Mark Twain did, right, to a movie. You're comparing it to landing on the moon. He's never landed on the moon, man. The one thing I know about men, it feels good when you do it right. It feels good when you do it for life. Right? You got 5 kids, right? Let me just leave it there, right? Bradley. But the reality is, Crawford is too small. Crawford is too arrogant. Crawford doesn't have an intelligent ego. And that's going to be his downfall. Yeah, Crawford's probably going to look better. Canelo's going to throw wide the first 4 rounds. Yeah, he going to get hit with a 5th jab every now and again, and people going to get excited. But the reality is, when you go back, because you referenced Golovkin, when you go back and reference Golovkin, right? That was one of the cleanest, hardest shots of that year. Canelo just brushed it off. And here's the biggest difference between Floyd. He's the most skilled. Floyd feinted for you to throw and miss. Crawford feinted to land a punch. So what does that mean, Timothy Bradley? So you're not telling the whole detail. When a person feints the punch, that means their feet are planted. So what does that mean? You got 2 flat-footed fighters standing in front of each other. And once Canelo figures that out, what y'all got to understand is, Crawford got to land 100 punches. Canelo only got to land 4.
The voice of experience has entered the debate as Ray Robinson, who once defeated Terence Crawford in the amateurs, shared his take on the upcoming clash. Robinson reminded fans that, for all of Crawford's brilliance, he has shown vulnerability when stepping up against naturally bigger opponents. While he praised Crawford's adaptability, he emphasized that size and strength remain decisive factors in elite-level matchups. Adding another layer to the conversation, rising star Jaron Ennis offered high praise for Canelo Alvarez's dedication in training camp. Ennis observed that Canelo is pushing himself with relentless discipline, fine-tuning every detail of his craft instead of relying solely on natural ability. He noted that Canelo's work ethic sets him apart, underscoring his determination to silence any doubts about his readiness. Together, these perspectives create a compelling narrative. Robinson's reminder of Crawford's past struggles against size, combined with Ennis's recognition of Canelo's intense preparation, suggests that Alvarez is entering this fight with unmatched focus. For Crawford, victory will demand more than sharpness and strategy. It will require the resilience to overcome both a physically stronger opponent and one fully committed to leaving nothing to chance.